So let's say that I have, or one of you has, normal blood sugar of about 100 or 90. And if you need about 4 of insulin to keep it there, 4 times 100 is 400, and there's a hypothetical number called 405. You divide it by that. If that number comes to less than 1, then you get a HOMA-IR, a score that tells you you are insulin sensitive. That means insulin is working well. But in layman's term, if you have normal sugars and low levels of insulin, that means you need low levels of insulin to hold your sugar. But if you have normal sugars or slightly high sugars and high levels of insulin, that means that your body has to need a lot more insulin to drive the sugar into the cells. So the reason we get insulin resistance, and this has been worked out by some very good, intelligent people, is through what we call as lipotoxicity. That means fat toxicity. The cell is taking in fat. It is not able to burn the fat. When it doesn't burn the fat becomes rancid, and it creates ceramides. And as it creates ceramides, it creates a series of reactions in which it goes to the insulin receptor. So here is an insulin receptor sitting on top of the cell. There is insulin out there. And basically this fat, through a series of reactions, is inactivating the insulin receptor. So basically, once insulin sits on the insulin receptor, it creates a series of reactions that makes the glucose channel become active and suck in glucose. But this rancid fat is interrupting all the channels through which the insulin receptor activates the glucose spore or the glucose channel, and so the cell cannot take any glucose. So this is an important point, and the important point is that insulin resistance starves your body of fuel. In other words, the cell is starving. It's not able to get in the fuel, and in some ways that will drive your appetite. It will want you to eat more because what you're eating is not really getting into your cell.
HOMA-IR less than 1 means you are insulin sensitive. If you have normal glucose and low insulin, you're okay. If you have normal glucose but high insulin, then you're likely insulin resistant. And this is caused by lipotoxicity or fat toxicity, where the cell takes in fat, not able to burn it. It becomes rancid and creates ceramides. These turn off the insulin receptor. And the GLUT4, glucose receptor, which normally sucks in glucose for fuel, the rancid fat blocks the receptor. It starves the cell of fuel, starves the body of fuel, but it makes you hungry.